Where are we? Who are we with?
Yeah. We're with Hayley and Martin from Fox and Furb. Yeah.
Martin's debut.
Martin's
bit
debut.
of a silent partner.
Silent partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually you've been doing a lot in the background, haven't you?
Indeed, yeah. A lot of the designing, building and keeping you semi-sane.
Yeah.
So when did Fox and Furb all start for you guys?
Probably lockdown, if you look at back that far, isn't it really? I mean,
I think that's when we decided it was going somewhere.
Yeah, well, because we were rebuilding our house at the time, so we wanted a footstool for us, and we didn't have the space. So basically, we designed the folding footstool, the fold stool that we sell now, for us. And I think it was while we were doing that Martin sort of saw me making it and was like, "I think you should do upholstery," which I had never even thought about before. So I think it was by just doing that. That's how the upholstery thing started, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So had you had much hands-on experience before, any making or art or anything like that?
Well, I did sewing in lockdown, like clothes and stuff for my nieces and nephews. And I've always been creative. I was a prosthetic makeup artist before having the kids. So I think doing such a creative job, and then obviously it was amazing being a stay-at-home mum, but there's always that pang, isn't there, that you miss doing something creative. So I always knew I wanted to get back into it and do something creative again. But I don't know, it's really hard. Like when you've had so much time off, I just felt like I didn't know what it was. I just tried so many different things, like I did a bit of painting and then realised, I just like doing this for me. There was like never anything that I tried that I sort of thought I could make this into a business until I did the upholstery. Because it's just so interesting and every job is different. And I think what I was missing was that buzz that I got from being on set, where it's so unpredictable and you just have to deal with things. And at the time, they might just suddenly need you to do this and you might not know how to do it, but you just learn or adapt. And I think upholstery gives me that same feeling, that same sort of buzz. Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, definitely. And you could get the same chair in, but it could be a totally different experience recovering it to the last time that you did it.
You never know what someone's done before you either until you start peeling it back.
Yeah.
Some things you find are made really well and some things are just loads of chipboard.
Yeah, right.
Just stapled together.
Yeah. But I think that's where the design element came in.
Yeah.
Because obviously I started just doing reupholstery, like locally. But as I was stripping things and, then Martin was getting interested in seeing how they were made, there was a lot of this, I wonder if we could make something better. Or I think that sparked his interest of, he enjoyed seeing the bones, and then it started giving him ideas of like, well, what could we make, ourselves kind of thing. So I think that's where the new stuff came in and where your passion came in.
Yeah, I like to create things that are sustainable in a way. So the bar stools we create, I simply have 2 bolts on the back and 2 bolts underneath. So instead of throwing them away when the upholstery gets a bit tired after 10, 20 years, you can post them back and we can reupholster them and send them back. You don't have to send the whole bar stool back. And they're solid frames, so they can be repowder coated and then sent back and vice versa.
It's really simple things like that I feel are just completely missed in the chase of fast, cheap manufacturing.
Definitely throw it away and buy new.
You need to attach the base to it anyway. Why not just stop and think for 10 minutes and be like, if I just use 4 fittings here rather than just glue. And I get, obviously, mass manufacture glue is quicker, all the rest of it, but you can just take it off and post it back.
Yeah.
But I think that's
Where
the thing.
Where did we lose all that along the way?
Yeah,
and I think that's the thing, as with a trade background, you have that engineering mind anyway. So that's why it works, because you work out how to do it better or how to do it a certain way.
Yeah, I like a bit of problem solving and trying to find different ways of doing things rather than how it's being done now, if you know what I mean. Even taking it back if I can.
There'll be a serviceability of that. You're a plumber, right?
Yeah.
So there's a serviceability in that as well, where you look at things and it's like, why did doing it this way is a pain in the arse for you to come in later and do it. So if you've been around stuff that's required servicing and required maintenance,
but it's nothing worse when someone's put a tiled bath panel on with no access.
It's just like
drives me mad.
I know.
But I think
it turns every 20-minute job into
It's just extra cost as well. People think if they go to somewhere and buy a nice hollow frame stool for 50 quid, it's going to last them. They'll just buy 5 of them in the lifetime of something you should have spent a bit more money on.
Yeah. And it'll always cost you more.
Indeed.
The boots is the big one for me that you notice that. I remember the first time I bought a good set of boots. I'd done I'd saved for a long time for them. I'd done 250 quid on a set of boots, and now I'll do 250, 300, whatever. But I buy them once every... You made me buy new ones for our wedding, and the other ones I'm still wearing 3 years later.
Yeah.
But and I remember at the time having a conversation with my dad, who was like, I can't believe you spent that much money on a pair of boots. Like, how many pairs of shoes have you went through in that time? I think I wore those Red Wings for 6, 7 years. I've still got them. I just need to get them.
Of boots you have to wear in as well.
Oh man, my lower back for 3 or 4 days after, my lower back was just in bits. And it wasn't the boots problem, it was I'd been walking in Vans for all my life, right? So
but it's so true, because I think you don't notice how many times you keep buying, do you? Because you're like, oh well, they're only 20 quid. And I think that's the thing about buying from a maker, is that it's built to last. And I think also it's that connection, isn't it? I am connected to every piece that I do, and you don't get that spark from something that's mass produced.
What it is. It is the personal touch that you add, but not only that you can almost customise every single element.
Yeah.
So the chance of someone else having the same bar stool that you've dreamt up in your head and got us to make is very slim.
And in fact, that's the stuff that I love the most. Recently, a lot of the bar stool orders, it's kind of I've seen your range, but could you do it with white piping? And I'm like, absolutely love that. I get combinations in that I might not have thought of, and that's what keeps, like I've said, that spark feeling where it's I can't wait to get stuck in and
it's almost like doing a new product every time, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's different. How many what's the split at the moment, and where do you hope it goes between upholstery and between your product range? I mean, I know it's all upholstery, but I mean reupholstery and your product range.
I think at the moment I'm still very much enjoying doing both. Obviously, doing reupholstery keeps you local, working with people. I feel like, if it was just making the new stuff, it might start to feel a bit sort of production liney. But I have really enjoyed this year doing collaborations. Nice. So obviously working with interior designers and putting their fabric on our bar stools. And that is obviously working with people and stuff like that. So I quite like to explore some more of that. But yeah, I think for me, that's what I love most about it at the moment, is that sort of variety. And it keeps my skills fresh as well, because if I know a lot of people say you should have a niche, and that's your niche and stick with that, but I feel like I learn so much from every job that then I'm like, oh Martin, come and look at this, this gives me an idea for something we could add to the range, because look at how they've done this. And we do get a lot of bespoke requests where people say, I've seen this ottoman I really like, but could you maybe make it slightly different? And that's what's good about us, is yes, we can, because he can design it, and he'll design it for me to upholster.
So we get fabric in, and sometimes I'll design, say, an ottoman around the fabric. So the measurements will be specific, because you've got stripes going across it, and I want the stripes to finish on the end. So that's quite good, the fact that we can do all that in house.
And obviously we're both still learning,
because pattern is only a pattern if it's on the right thing.
Exactly.
It could be the nicest pattern in the world, but if it's rolled around,
exactly.
Cardboard chip, it's rolled around a cardboard chip.
Where did we go? Was it Chelsea Harbour? We went round, and I got about 5 different ideas for new chairs just by looking at different fabrics in different fabric places.
And being like, oh, that would look good on this shape, or
exactly.
It's interesting you say about the niche down thing, because I think a lot of people, there is always an argument for niche down and just stick to your niche and just improve that and improve that. But I look at what we've done, we've very much just done that, and then you start doing that. And then at some point we'll start doing that again, and then we'll come back. It's okay to widen out and then knock things off, because you'll never know whether it works or not unless you try it, right?
Exactly. And I think that is the thing about being a creative is not a straight line, is it, at all?
No.
So why would a creative business be any different? I've had so many jobs that were just get in, get out, get paid, but this isn't that. This is our life. our business is our life. We love it. We want to work it in a direction that we're going to enjoy the journey for the rest of our lives.
That's all that we're focusing on.
Yeah.
It's trying to.
Yeah, it's
instead of having two businesses and a house build, we want to just have the one business and get everything.
That's much the same as us.
Calmer.
Like, it's like, let's chop off all the other stuff so we can just do this full time.
Concentrate on that full time. Yeah.
It's funny when you see all these people, like when you go for funding and when you go for the creative life, like you say, because they're always asked, like, do the business plan, do this, do that.
Yeah.
What is the business plan? Make cool stuff, sell
gonna
cool
change
stuff.
Literally,
so quickly.
I'm like,
Feed
you're
self.
speaking to
Like,
a creative.
make cool stuff, sell cool stuff, feed self.
Yeah,
That's the business
that is
plan.
literally it.
That's all we need. And that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't need to have this grand master plan. I mean,
Having an idea is okay, but
I'm probably learning more of that off Kate than the other way around. Because you're like, I like a plan. I like to stick to a plan.
But I'm like, it's not always going to work that way.
No.
Yeah, but then saying that, obviously Martin's been running his own business for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie, I do not like the business side of the business. I'm
Nobody
exactly
does.
like you just said. I just want to make cool stuff, and like I'd be happy with that. But he's obviously got the experience of running a business, so that comes in really handy. And obviously I'm doing the socials and all of that. And again, that's a learning thing, isn't it? Like you try things, you see what works, so together we make quite a good team, but we're still definitely in the learning what works phase. And
that will still be there for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think business is always ever changing, isn't it?
It's fun.
Yeah.
What is the split between you guys at the moment?
Work-wise,
Yeah.
I'm still working.
We always get asked it, don't we? Like, how do you...
So I'm still working. It depends what comes in. I'm not doing a lot of the smaller stuff. I tend to plan bathrooms in, so I'll do a bathroom. I've now got a tiler who helps me do the rip-outs and does all the tiling now, rather than me having to do it because of my back. So I probably do a couple of those a month. And then if I don't need to, I've got extra work to do for Hayley.
It's very much I'm running the business, and then when he is not working, I'm like, here's a list of all the things I need you to do.
I need you to cut 12 bases for this.
I'm like, we need to go
this,
see
this,
a client
this.
so that you can measure up and design her a bench. And he's like, yes, boss. Like at the moment, he's being pulled in so many different directions, and he's being amazing, because it is quite a lot, I think, for him trying to juggle it all.
And the goal is that you both end up on this full time, on Fox and Furb full time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that would be the dream, wouldn't it?
You get sad when I go to work, don't you?
Yeah.
When I say go to work, I've got so many jobs.
To be fair, that was what was really weird after filming Make It at Market, because he was so involved, and we had to get everything together. And then when it sort of finished, and then he went back to work like normal, I was like, what do you mean you're leaving? I was like, I now have to work by myself again.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I've just done this to Kate, going back to contract.
Yeah,
because you feel like you're just like,
you're like,
you're
I've lost my teammate. What's going on?
In a different country as well.
Yeah, that must be tough.
I know, but we make it
I
work.
think it's tougher for Kate than it is for me, just to kind of head down and get on with it. And then I kind of come up for air every so often. I'm like, oh, where did that 4 weeks just go?
Yeah.
Like, where did that all go?
I think that's what's hard as well for like small businesses, small brands like and makers, is you just, it's really hard to catch up. Like obviously, like we were saying about the big brands, they have a business plan. So, Black Friday comes along and they, they've got it already, all prepared. They've got a whole team ready, to do this.
Ready to undercut everyone else that's making stuff.
And like with us, it's like you're only just catching up on like the everyday stuff, and then suddenly it's like Halloween. You're like, oh gosh, do I need to do something about this? Do I need to go back and find things that are Halloween themed? Like it's really difficult, I think, as a maker to try and keep up and market yourself and get seen when all of these companies just are overpowering the socials. That's hard.
Yeah, and I also look at independent makers and just how you do all that. Like for us, we've got 4 launches a year, so everything's in 90-day sprints, and that's really, really easy to calendar because of the same time every year.
Yeah.
I look at other people that it's like you need structure, you need some we need structure, we need some sort of plan. I don't know how we would fare with that reactive mindset.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time you've only got time to be reactive, right?
Definitely.
You mentioned Make It a Market there, so for anyone not from the UK that's listening may not have heard about it. Talk us through all that and how that even came about. Like.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny really, because I actually was studying at London Met doing the AMUSF upholstery course. So that's the accreditation, which I'd sort of decided to do because after doing upholstery just at home, and obviously I did some classes locally, I thought this is definitely what I want to do. So I wanted to go and get the accreditation. Cool. And somebody sent me, they put an ad out on socials saying upholsterers wanted. Someone sent it to me, and I don't know, I just applied, which now I'm like, it's crazy because I definitely was not feeling confident then to actually do it. But I think I was just on the train on the way home. I don't know, maybe I'd had a good day. So so I applied for it, and then we had like the whole interview process and stuff, and I got picked. But it's crazy because it's not even a year ago, is it, since it came out? But it feels so long ago because so much has happened, and the whole process was kind of like propelling your business from not really knowing where you're heading to like suddenly having this full-time business. That was quite hard actually, because I think after the show came out, I'd kind of gone from being a stay-at-home mum and working my work around what was happening with the kids and stuff, and then suddenly I was like trying to work full-time, really full on, and trying to fit that into my family and not make it affect or change like the dynamic at home. Obviously now, we've got it all figured out, and I mean, the kids don't even need me anymore.
Don't see them that much.
I'm literally like, oh, yeah. But so the show format was amazing for me because it just gave me that confidence to be like, like we had all the ideas for building furniture, but we hadn't even, it was just sort of like sofa chat.
The push that you needed almost.
It was just sofa chat, like, oh my God, like maybe we should
imagine that we
design something, maybe we'll design something for our house. And then I think going on the show, I had no direction at all. Like what you guys were saying before, are you going to keep doing the reupholstery or are you just going to do your stuff? I kind of went there being like, I have no idea. Hopefully they'll help me figure this out.
No, okay.
And then when we went there and talked about our new furniture, there was very much a like, why aren't you guys doing this already? Like, it's amazing. So a
little bit of reassurance.
So I think for us, that was the first big thing that came from it, to be like, oh, actually, we can do this. And then obviously fast forward, the behind the scenes stuff where you're developing products and stuff, that was really good because it was just, I was learning, what it would be like to sort of bring out new products and work with other people and source fabric companies. And, but it was a fast track. The things that I did probably could have taken me a lot longer, but because I was doing it alongside the show, which I think was good for me because it just sort of just kept going and just wanted to.
It's an intensive course, isn't it? It's just
exactly.
crack on.
But I think it just made me realise more than anything that this is what I want to do. Like I love what we're doing and I want to do it all the time.
Yeah,
we are.
You're living it.
You're like, we are doing it all the time.
Never stops.
It's like it never stops,
Had you viewed this as a family business before, Martin?
I have always been interested in designing and building things, and I definitely wanted it to head that way. I
think you're just really easygoing.
I am very relaxed.
You're just quite happy to just do stuff and you just get ideas and you're like, let's do it. And I'm like, okay.
If I get an idea, I immediately want to build it. So I'll go and find some scrap or I'll draw it out and then I'll
you
just
need to make. You just want to try it and just get stuck in.
She actually has to stop me building things. Yeah. She's like, no, we're just focusing on this range at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm like 20. I'm not 20 years ahead. I'm 20 years ahead. I've got the next.
But it's like all our prototypes, like they're all in our house. Like our house is like a Fox and Furb show home, and that's because we only design stuff. But that's because we only design stuff that we like. Because if you're not making stuff that you like, then you're not going to enjoy the making. You have to enjoy and love what you're making in order to sell it.
Holly Cooper is the one that always sticks in my head about that, and the ceramicist. We spoke to her in edition 1, and then went back for like podcast number 3 or 4 or something like that, and she'd completely changed. And her whole point was, I realised I was making stuff that I thought other people wanted, because she was making the stuff that she would see got high engagement on Instagram and looked the part.
Like very beige.
But I didn't really want it.
Not a
like,
beige person.
I want you go into her house, and much like your guys' house, like it's very colourful. It's very her. And when she was a totally different ceramicist when we went to see her, and that is always stuck in my head is like, do the thing you want to do,
Yeah,
people
not what
come
you
to you
see
for what
someone
you do.
else doing.
Yeah, I mean, I do still enjoy making maybe more neutral things as well. We
Yeah.
do a lot of bold and bright, right? But we have collaborations with other people that we can do that through, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not sticking just to the bold and bright, but if I see a piece of fabric I love, I want to put it on something.
Yeah.
So I want to design something to put it on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's quite, the design element is quite fluid, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Have you got any training in design or anything like that? Or yours was...
No, I've been drawing and designing things since I was tiny. My dad is an architect.
Okay.
And if I could have done 7 years at university at that age, I probably would have. But I don't think me at university would have been a good idea. So
Not for you.
No, indeed. So I jumped into the plumbing and heating because I still get to create something. I still get to rip something out and put something beautiful back in. That's why I enjoy doing the bathrooms.
Right. That's interesting.
Less changing taps. That's not as well. I do like a good tap. Some pretty taps.
But you've never lost the interest for the design side.
No, never. I don't think I've ever stopped drawing. I mean, I'm covered in most of my own drawings. So.
Nice. Yeah, but I think that's obviously why we chose to do our house build ourselves as well, and that's given you a chance to do a lot of creative stuff, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Put your stamp on it.
And what about yourself? So you were in special effects makeup, so you had quite I'd say that's a pretty creative thing to do that, you know?
Yeah. So my background was, I mean, I was always quite arty at school, sort of, high art GCSE grades and English and stuff. But then I went straight into hairdressing.
Right.
I was working as a Saturday girl. They offered an apprenticeship. So same as Martin, I didn't go to college or university. And then from that's what got me into, I started doing hair for photography and stuff. And that's what got me into the makeup stuff. But I've always been crafty, like I'll try any sort of craft, punch needling and, so I've always had those as hobbies, but I'd never really thought about making with my hands as a business. I'd always looked at them as hobbies until I found upholstery.
Do you think that's just the way of the world?
Yeah, and I think also, like, after having kids, you do, like, you look at stuff a lot differently, don't you? You don't necessarily just buy without thinking because you have children and they're expensive. And so I think my whole mindset shifted as well about like what we were buying and, where has it come from? And Ellie's always been quite creative as well. And when I was a stay-at-home mum with her especially, we were, growing veg in the garden. And then obviously we had lockdown as well, while I was homeschooling both of them. And, we were learning about all these different things. And I just think all of that has sort of led me into the journey of what we're doing now. And like Martin said earlier, not just wanting to design things for the sake of it, but actually thinking about, the quality and, well, what happens if someone changes their mind, if they bought this crazy bar stool from us and then are they just going to throw it away? But that's the point. Like Martin said, we can just reupholster those pieces or, with the coffee table, you can just send the upholstered bit back and we'll recover it. So I think my sort of whole life has led to what I'm doing now. Just from, I think I've just been really inspired by my kids and being a mum as well. That's awesome.
Because there isn't any, and the reason I like to ask that question, there isn't any plan for it. Like there's no blueprint for it. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Kate. It's like some people just like know straight away. Think Bert, another ceramicist, Bert the Potter. He knew he wanted to make ceramics from a very young age, so he made all his life choices to allow him to continue to make ceramics, like from the point of where he lives. Like all of those choices were made based on the financial income he could make as a ceramicist, working the way he wanted to work. But other people are like, well, I've got a life and now this needs to fit this. There's no right or wrong, but I'm always interested as to where other people come at it. I think
our story is that obviously we both went straight into work from school, didn't do college or anything. We both did college. Well, you did, but we both did apprenticeships is what I meant. So we had quite a lot of life experience quite young and, we tried lots of different things. So we've always sort of like tried a lot of different things, but had that creativeness in us since we were kids, I guess would be, and now it's just obviously come out
all came together.
Yeah, it feels like it's
at the
coming
right
together.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, the kids are older now, so they tend to want to not be around as much, which is a bit sad, but still. So we have plenty of time to...
Well, and also doing a house build together. I mean, loads of couples will tell you, like, that's hard, but we have had so much fun doing it, and I think that's the point where you're like, okay, we could actually work together. Like, we're good. No one's hit anyone with a hammer yet. Like, so doing that made us be like, actually, we could push this into like an actual business that we could do together. So I think that also influenced us as well. Yeah,
Nothing better.
yeah.
What's Hayley's hidden skill in the house build?
She can do everything. There's nothing she can't do, actually, to be fair. Everything I do, I then make Hayley do.
Yeah.
So that she knows how to do it.
Yeah. I actually got promoted from only being allowed to put screws that were going to be hidden to being allowed to put plasterboard outside, like ones that you'd see.
So one of the things you're not very good with is an impact driver.
Yeah.
She uses a screw, she just goes through the ceiling.
He makes it look so easy.
It's trigger control, that's all it is.
That's the same as me, to be fair.
It's all or
I'm like,
nothing
why
with
is
you.
it stop? Just go again.
Yeah. But it's like, even with my job now, like, he is the fix-it man. Like, if you have a problem, he'll just find a solution. So, like, even like this, he made this for me because with the fold stools, obviously, because we hand make every one. So, you know, we mark the legs up before I make them so that the legs fit absolutely perfectly, and we know everything's going to be level. And so he, you know, made that so it's a nice, easy. He makes the systems, rather than me having to. I would have been measuring it and, you know, taking ages. So now it's like I have a system. In fact,
put that on the edge. Put it on.
On
mark
the
the holes.
show, I was using 15mm pipe to mark my seam allowance. And Michaela was like, what is that? I was like, well, you know, it's the exact seam allowance that I need. So Martin just cut me a bit and I just go around it. Like, you know,
you see someone doing something, she's got a little tape out and she's measuring every part. And I'm like, here's a bit of 15mm pipe, draw a line.
And I'm always like,
Done.
There's something that's been rattling about the van as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the simplest things, right?
I know.
You're good at that as well.
Like a problem solve. That's what I like.
Before we move on, though, the tip bit for the listeners: Kate's hidden skill doing a house is cutting plasterboard within half a mil.
You are.
It's like the air comes out behind it. It goes.
Oh God!
There's nothing more satisfying, is there?
I cut no bits of plasterboard when we done our house after the first 5 or 6, because I could be like, Kate, measure that hole, cut that, I'll fit it all.
I'm so sorry, but plasterboarding is the worst.
No, the amount of times I've cut skirting and then gone and put it there, and it's about an inch too short. And then I'll go and cut it again. We did it literally 2 days ago. I measured it 4 or 5 times. It'd been a long day, but then I put it there and it was too short. I was like, do you know what? Can we just not do the skirting today?
Yeah. Just stop and come back another day. Yeah, we know the feeling.
Yeah.
I like a bit of skirting board. Where are we? Systems. Systems are really important when you're trying to do everything that you're trying to do yourself.
Yeah. Well, especially when you haven't got a team and, you know, you need to have...
Your systems are your team.
Yeah,
that's all you've got. Like, I look at the systems we've built, especially in our newsletter of late, like the automations, we use make.com to, like, if people respond to certain things, it signs up to newsletter, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, those systems are
your
all
team.
you have when you don't have extra people.
Yeah.
What are the systems that have got you here thus far?
Systems? I don't know. I guess
it's been a bit manic, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Systems are kind of coming in now.
I think what really helped with my systems was when we were filming for the show, I had a website, but it was built by someone locally, and I actually decided to redo the whole website as part of the show because everything changed, basically. I changed the whole business. And it was very hard doing a website from scratch, but I think by doing that, it sort of made me understand how it all worked, and in turn, you know, understand how to do newsletters and blogs and things like that. So I think that really helped my system. And so now everything sort of goes through there. So whether I'm sort of doing local refurbs and stuff, it's such a good app that I can just input everything in there and keep it all in one place. Because I think that for me, that's the stuff that I find hard with my job, is that it's not just, you know, someone's bought something, I'll grab it, I'll post it. You know, I might get an inquiry and it's like, you know, can you help me choose fabrics? And then I've got to sort of flag it, remember that I need to go back to that person after I've researched some fabrics to go with there's so many elements to it. It's not just like a black and white business. So it's definitely been a learning curve because I am not the most organised person. But I think it's just through trial and error and just figuring out what's working and what's not. Mainly more looking at, right, hold on a minute, this isn't working. Like, these are the bits that I'm still not happy with in the business. What can we do to make this run more efficiently? And it's like, you know, the workspace, we've recently refurbed this workspace because I needed it to run more efficiently. So it's such a messy job, you know, but everything has a home and goes back. So I think it's all of those little systems that I've just sort of learnt by doing and then asking Martin.
It's just
to
ever
help
evolving.
Me. Yeah, exactly. But there's still so many things.
It even goes down to, so our blacksmith who makes all the solid steel frames. We've now got a system where I've drawn up and I've given him a picture of every single stool base that I've just quickly hand drawn up, put every single measurement on it, and then put a little code. So when we put an order in, we've got a chat that is literally just for orders. Otherwise, things are getting lost in translation. He's made this one.
Well,
this
especially
15 centimetres too small or whatever.
Especially because a lot of, obviously we have what we have, but we do get a lot of inquiries like, oh, could you do it a slightly different size or
just
slightly different? So I think that was a really important system to get in place quite early because like Martin said, you know, if we've sent him all of these orders, but one of them's not using the normal jig, he's made up jigs for all of our furniture now. But, you know, then he was having to try and remember, well, which one's for this and which height am I doing this at? So those systems have been really important. But obviously it's great. He's literally down the road. He's one of your oldest friends.
Yeah, I went to school with him.
We can pop to the forge and, you know, chat through stuff whenever, which is really good.
He's got about 3. He's actually making the side gates for the house at the moment. And he's...
Although I did text him the other day. I was like, anything you're doing for the house, please pause it and concentrate on all work orders because they need to be done by Christmas.
I have to wait for my gates for New Year, probably.
Yeah.
That's your Christmas present out the window.
But no, it's great because literally Martin will draw up a drawing and send it to him and then he just makes it. Like, it's a really nice, and I love supporting another maker.
It's a good relationship.
Yeah, like to be a maker doesn't mean you have to be a lone maker. Like there is always going to be stuff that you can't do, that you need help with or you need something else.
But it being local is one of the best things. So I've just designed a metal frame chair to go in a lounge or whatever, and maybe even outdoor. But I don't know exactly where I need to put the supports for the chair base that I've got to build. So the fact that I can drive 5 minutes down the road and say, right, hold it there, we're going to tack weld these on together, and then we're going to put the base in, we're going to try it, check it's comfy.
It's very hands-on.
I don't have to wait. I don't have to be like, right, well, there's another wasted prototype. We can literally move them, put them where we want, weld it up, job done.
So when Kate was doing her furniture, that was one of the first things we really invested a lot of money in, was bringing your to buy a CNC machine, to bring a CNC machine in-house
So you could do that.
for your blanks, because it allowed us to do exactly that. To be like,
when it saves you wasting time.
three different bases of the chair to see how each of them sit, or let's
you cut it. Okay, try it.
That
works.
Because when you're doing it externally, we had to do a full batch, and I think they're like a 3-sheet, 4-sheet minimum or something. You had to do it at a time, so you'd do 4 sheets, get them back, oh, they're not right, and then you need to wait a month to get it booked in. It's just time, isn't it?
Wasteful as well, right?
Yeah, massively. Whereas you can cut one that's somewhat adjustable, or that you know is kind of in the ballpark, and then, like you said, or tack weld bits on, although it was in wood for us, but for you, tack welding bits on to see where it all sits. It's really important to be able to do, because not everything comes out right first time.
No.
Well, and also I think it's nice because obviously you have the idea in your head, and it's not like you're then just palming it off and then it comes back, and like you're getting involved in the whole process, which I think is part of what Fox and Furb is that like the whole thing is like hands-on from both of us from start to finish, which is obviously
the whole package.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
What's the plans with it going forward? I mean, I say going forward, you're really not that long into it.
No.
But I bet you've got lots of ideas.
Yeah, so I think this year has been quite full on since the show, with doing lots of different things, which I've really enjoyed, but it's definitely given me that sort of, like you guys are saying, the insight into now where I want us to head towards. So we are having a little bit of time over Christmas to basically look at everything that we've done, look
let me
back.
do some building.
He wants to build some things. But also like look at previous prototypes and ideas and try and hone our collection a little bit. Because like we were saying about the niche thing, I definitely want to have a niche. And if I'm honest, I think the bar stools are quite iconic for us at the moment. Like it's our bestseller. Obviously, you know, it's quite unique looking. So I think focusing on what pieces we want to have in our collection and then bringing in more of this like bespoke build element. Okay. Because obviously that's what Martin loves doing. Right. And we've had quite a lot of jobs recently where we've been doing that. In fact, we've got an interior designer's asked us to do a bed at the moment, hasn't she?
I would love for someone to rock up with a sketch on a piece of paper, like a line drawing of a chair they want me to build. Just give it to me and go, please can you build this?
Yeah.
Love to.
Contact me again when it's physical.
Exactly. Like a proper challenge.
Oh yeah, I love it.
But yes, I think working on our furniture collection that we're happy with and we're going to keep going and we're just going to promote building up the sort of bespoke working with others and that kind of stuff and just still doing the local refurbs because I just really enjoy it. Nice. And obviously that brings in the money as well, the regular money while we're sort of putting money back in to redevelop and work on the business.
Stops a lot of things going to the bin as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that is one of the things that I really want to bring. I was hoping to bring it in this year, but I've just been too busy. Is obviously Fox and Furb was supposed to be refurb, but I have no refurb marketplace, which has always been on my list. So that's something I really, really want to do is have a refurb marketplace.
Save some old furniture. Redo it up.
That'd be cool.
Is that not what you did with this chair that you did?
I did with the chair from Goodwood, yes.
So for anyone
there is actually loads of furniture in the cabin waiting, waiting to be done. But I really want to look into the sustainability. That's one of our big points that we want to look at while we have a little bit of time off over Christmas, is how we can be even more sustainable. I mean, we use recycled foam in all of our products. But it's things like, you know, the offcuts and stuff, you know, what can I do with those? I actually was Googling a shredder. I don't know if I told you that.
You were trying to convince me to buy a shredder.
But, you know, like even this, so this is like when I do my fold stools, obviously I get like little squares and stuff. And then the kids sometimes do it for pocket money, but I make them into buttons, you know, covered buttons. And, you know, there's loads of things like that, which I would like to see how I can reuse stuff, whether it's me personally or, you know, like working with some other people and stuff. I quite like to look into that. And
old furniture, especially old chairs and stuff, they're really well built because much better quality wood.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Joints are usually a lot more accurate because they're handmade joints and like it's really good quality stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just the upholstery that goes.
Yeah. In fact, sometimes it's the upholstery that's holding it together.
Oh, really?
The amount of times you take that last tack off and then it's like the legs just... But it's like you said, you know, they're much easier to fix. It's usually, you know, clean out the joint, bit of wood glue, you know, or it might need something more. But 9 times out of 10, you know, the structure is solid. Whereas with the new stuff, you know, it's all...
chipboard. Yeah. That's what it is. It's cardboard, chipboard, newspaper sometimes, stuffed in to create an arm.
Well, it's like those dining chairs. I did some dining chairs recently, and obviously until you look inside, you don't know. And I always tell clients that, but I sort of felt it and thought, the wood split, that's fine. You know, Martin will just cut a new base for me. And then when I took the fabric off, it was just cardboard they were sitting on. It was just like thick
the
cardboard.
same as that down there.
Yeah, so obviously, you know, that had just split, and I was like, oh, actually, Martin, it didn't have any wood.
I ended up having to put some plywood underneath, and then putting some battens in to hold it.
Yeah, but I think that's obviously what's nice is then, you know, like I was saying earlier, you can solve problems and then feel good knowing that you sent that chair or product back, and it's going to last even longer this time. You know. It's interesting. Yeah,
I can imagine it'd be hard for certainly the refurb, but the design stuff, obviously for you, Martin, I'll never really get boring. That's clearly what you're so into. Yeah. But the refurb stuff, it'd be hard for it to get boring because you never know what you're going to like. It's all a different problem that you're pulling out. It must be quite difficult to price that stuff. Or are clients usually pretty good? Like, how do you price that? Because you could just walk into an absolute basket case.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to sort of give an estimate to start with. It depends what it is, because obviously with some things it's easier to tell. It's a more straightforward job, you know, like a drop-in dining seat, you know, worst case scenario, you might need some new foam, you know, it's easier. But with bigger stuff, and especially traditional, I tend to sort of give, you know, this is the margin. Sometimes you can obviously look inside just by taking off the bottom cloth if you really need to have a look. But I haven't had anyone complain, even, you know, if I have had one when I took it off and it had woodworm and it was really knackered and it was missing like the internal stuff, and it was probably more than double for me to redo it. But the client, it was a traditional piece she'd had passed down, and there's that whole connection, isn't there? So she was quite happy to, you know, for me to go ahead and do it. But equally, you know, if somebody wasn't, you know, you can make good again, and just they could pay you for the work that you've done. But yeah, I think it's just about being open and honest. And obviously each job, it's not just, you know, scanning something at the checkout. It is like, you know, this is like my treasured piece, and, you know, then I'm like, oh, I can't wait to do it for you. There's a whole person to person connection there, which is also why, you know, some people will wait weeks for fabric because you've gone round and you've looked at fabrics with them, and they're like, I want that one, you know, I don't want to compromise, because then I always look at it and be like, I wish
And presumably when you refit it, there's, I mean, I don't know anything about upholstery, but there's years and years and years of life that's going into that if you don't wait 3 weeks because you want it in a week.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like you're then looking at it for, what, 5-10 years easy?
Yeah. And I think that's what I always say to clients as well, you know, because sometimes obviously people are quite surprised with how expensive it is, but it's really labour intensive.
We watched it, Goodwood.
Well, yeah. And there is so much to it. I think, you know, sometimes people don't realise how much there is to it. But
a lot of layers to it.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But I always say to people, you know, in fact, I had a client recently who she really wanted me to do a chair. So I went round there and I told her the price, and it sort of came back that her and her husband were like, oh, you know, it's more than we were thinking. And I am always honest with people. I said, you know, if this is going to be a statement chair that you are planning on keeping, you know, in your house, and you're going to look at it and be like, oh my gosh, you know, I love that chair, that's when you do it. But if you are just doing it because you're painting, you know, she was refurbing this room, and it was a chair she just knew it was comfy. So if you're just doing it because you're freshening up, you know, then you haven't got that sort of gut feeling that, you know, with the piece kind of thing. And I think you know, I'm always honest with people, because I don't want people to not have a connection with what I'm doing as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to place yourself.
Service,
you want to place yourself in the market. As Kate says, you're more than just a service. You're the person you go to for statement pieces, and I hear that.
I mean, I obviously still do sort of, especially commercial stuff can feel a little bit more servicey. But again, that's why I love this job, because every day is different.
You love that one you did in London?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was a banquette in a pub, and it had
I've no idea
5 previous, like a bench seat.
All right, okay.
But it had like 5 previous layers of fact. You could literally look back at each time the pub had been, you know, like redone.
That's quite cool.
Really?
People just gone over
But
and
the
over
manager
it.
was like, I can't believe that's all still on there. Like,
So here's the question: did you go over it or did you strip it back?
I stripped it back.
Oh, you broke the
It was
cycle.
so, I know. I did feel a bit like that afterwards as well. I was like,
What did they
maybe
do
I
with the
should have
fabric?
just done it. I don't know. Maybe
But
they've got little
The
pieces.
seat was fixed in with screws straight through the front of the fabric originally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like somebody at the pub just.
Yeah.
That's just like the landlord's done it, isn't it?
Yeah. But no, she made sure, the carpenter, she was like, the new fabric is gorgeous. You know, this needs to be fixed properly. There is absolutely no screws going through this fabric.
It was the first call I got, wasn't it? Can you believe they've just screwed straight through the front of this?
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, how would you fix it? I was like, But
And then what about your product line? Is that you're doing a lot of bar stools? Have you done much commercial versus residential work? How's that all looking for you?
We haven't. We have had quite a few inquiries. They all tend to be sort of European. I think at the moment, obviously, we're still trying to get seen.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, we'd love to do more commercial stuff. In fact, we were talking about how we could bring out, different ranges. Like, in fact, we've just done a indoor-outdoor fabric on a couple of bar stools. Nice. So, like, expanding into that, obviously, how they would be better for open spaces as well. But at the moment, it tends to be domestic. Yeah.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult to break into, if you're doing really high-end stuff, into that commercial market anyway, because a lot of people would kind of want people to come in and just chuck a load of fabric over something they've already got, or not often. We're not making huge bits that will sit in someone's lobby. So really, what are they going to buy from us? Are they going to buy bar stools? You might get the odd quirky bar that will buy our current bar stool range, which would be great, but we haven't had anything yet.
But that's why we want to work on promoting that bespokeness that we can offer, because obviously if a bar comes to us and says, we actually would like you guys to come up with something, that's what that's where we would like. So I think the next year is all about making connections and just seeing where that takes us, definitely.
What about shows and things, anything like
that? We did Craftworks last year. It was their first year. I don't know if you guys went to that or not. No. And we're doing that again this year.
Okay.
Next year.
Oh,
we did it this year.
We did it this year.
And we're doing it next year as well.
Yeah, so that's in May.
No.
I think you did message us about that, but we were in Australia that time.
Yes.
You said come to it.
Yes,
but we
I did.
Here.
Yeah. So that is amazing because it's all craftspeople. You guys need to come.
Yeah, it's really good.
So we're signed up for that again. And
is that London based?
Yeah, Shoreditch Town Hall. It's a really nice venue. Okay.
That's where I worked in Shoreditch. Was it Unto This Last? They did CNC furniture. That's where I worked for a while.
Oh, cool.
They're no longer in existence because plywood was just too expensive. Like they just couldn't cope with the amount of cost versus everything else, which is a shame, but that's what happens.
No, everything got so expensive, didn't it?
Still is.
But Shoreditch is
it's
quite
not come down.
Yeah.
I mean, why would they bring it down, right?
Yeah, exactly.
People are paying it.
But yeah, that's really good. So we're going to make a nice plan for that this year.
Nice. And will that be showcasing your range?
Yeah, so that's what we did last year. We showcased some of our range, and then we introduced some new products. So like the headboard hadn't been seen before, we took it there. So we want to do a fun big bespoke build or something. And then obviously have like our
talking about this today, actually.
Yeah, we were talking about this today.
Sitting here, my mind's going.
Yeah. And then we're also going to pop down to Clerkenwell Design Week.
Yeah.
We really would like to exhibit with them, but we felt like we need longer to prepare for it because we want to do something really big and bold for that.
I think that's a good move. Do big, bold stuff.
Yeah.
Because people might not buy the big, bold stuff, but they'll remember the big, bold stuff.
Yeah.
I often like it to the Geneva Motor Show. Audi never shows off the A4, do they? It's always the RS4, all singing, all dancing. That you show off the big wow piece and people remember that. I think that's a good move.
Yeah. Yeah, because we were close to wanting to do it next year, not this year, next year. But then I think sometimes you need to just step back and be like, we could do it, we'd pull it out of the bag like we do with everything, but we want to go big and have lots of time to plan.
Yeah,
and I love the confidence you have there. Like we just, all the time we pull out of the bag.
Yeah.
Yep.
We do though, don't we? We just get on with it.
But I was like, we have no other choice.
Like the royal we.
Yeah, that's it.
That's my view as well. Okay, so we'll just get on with it. Like, we've got no other choice.
Yeah. Well, it's like yesterday, I ordered a cabinet for our kitchen that we're doing next week, and I said to mine, oh, by the way, I forgot that it's 2 meters long, so you need to go in the van.
No, you didn't say that. You said, do you mind going pick it up? I said, shall I take the car? Oh, wait, no, it's a larder cabinet. That's going to be about over 2 meters tall. So how were you going to collect it? Oh,
I haven't really thought about it.
Okay. Met some men in a car park and they chucked in the back of the van. It's very strange.
Oh, interesting.
It was from IKEA as well.
Yeah, free pickup service. That
was odd.
But you've just got to get on with it, don't you?
You just got to get on with it, exactly.
There isn't another option if you want to make it work.
Exactly.
As brutally difficult as it can feel some days.
There's no really sometimes plan B. You just have to keep going with the plan A.
Well, when it's your business, there is no one telling you what to do. There is, it's the same with the clock off time, isn't it? You always think about your business because
and you never
you're building
stop working.
You never stop working. That's very true.
Do you find that difficult?
No, because when it's out of office hours and I'm thinking about the business, I'm enjoying thinking about the business. But I also don't let it overlap family time, or we have time off to do the house or do things, and so I'm always thinking about it, but not to the point where it's like affecting other stuff. Definitely.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Have you had to learn to do that, or have you guys just always been good at that?
Always been work-life balance.
Yeah.
I've always tried to get home by the time the kids get back from school, so I spend some time with them.
Yeah.
And then if I need to do, I can do my invoicing or do whatever I need to do, ready for the next day. I'd rather start work earlier and finish earlier.
Yeah.
So I get a bit more daylight time with these lot. But.
Yeah. And we're quite spontaneous people, so like if we've been working a lot, especially when we were building the house, obviously there was a lot of the time where the kids couldn't join in. I mean, they helped us a lot, but obviously there were things that they couldn't help with. Yeah. So if we were building a lot for a couple of days, then we'd sort of be like, right, let's go out and get dinner. And I think it's the same when you're doing your business, isn't it? If you realise that actually you've been really in it for a while, then you just have to make sure there's those little pockets of time where you're like, right, okay, we're not doing anything with the business.
Because we can get quite lost in it as well, because we have so much fun whenever we're doing anything, so it doesn't feel like work. So that's the danger with it, is because we enjoy what we're doing.
Kate's going to repeat that to me the whole drive home.
Yeah.
Remember what Hayley said?
But then the kids join in as well. Like Ellie, she was helping sew all my cushions for the show, because we had to quickly get loads of cushions photographed, and she was doing all the overlocking, and Jake's really good at zips. Zips is so annoying. Yeah, so he was like, helping with that.
It's good to get them involved in skills that they'll learn that you can take on.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's good. It's good to have that.
Do you think that's something that you appreciate now, how important it is to get them involved in it, or is it something you always felt would be something you'd want the kids to do?
I think it's just naturally sort of happened from them watching.
I think they're always involved in everything we do. As soon as they're old enough to hold an impact driver, they did.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting down doing drawing, suddenly one of them will appear, then the other one will appear, and we'll all sit and do drawing. I think they just take interest in what we're interested in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And lockdown definitely made that even more so, didn't it?
Jake watched the Make It a Market show where it said about my back and I can't continue doing the plumbing forever. Yeah. And Jake turned around to me and said, Dad, what am I going to do then if you're not going to do any plumbing anymore? This is the child who has the least interest in any of the construction stuff I do. He just assumed that he was going to work with me.
Right, okay.
I know, it's really sweet.
Yeah,
he just thought, well, that's what I would just come and work with you.
Yeah.
Oh, it was sweet.
You're like, you're sewing zips, mate. Don't worry about plumbing. You're zip sewing now.
No, he's not helping me anymore. He's got a paper round now. So
is he?
Yeah.
I had a paper round. Good start to the work.
He's actually doing the same round that I did as a kid.
No way, really?
Yeah. I went round on it on his first day with him.
I know, it's funny.
You chap all the old doors that used to deliver neighbours.
I don't even realise people still got papers delivered, but it's really nice.
It's definitely still a thing,
I wonder how many people still actually get papers delivered around our place. We don't have a local paper round, do we?
Your mum and dad, do they not?
Well, I did when I lived there, and my brothers definitely did. So
there's a lot more rules around it now, though. Like working, I used to pick up extra rounds all the time.
Yeah.
Jake can't even do a week one; he can only do a weekend one until he gets a bit older.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to do it at so many hours work before or after
Making it
school.
harder for kids to do work, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If they want it, take it.
I don't think there's any sort of jobs that you can do before 16, really, is there?
No, he was like, can we go and do car washing? I said, you're not washing my car. The amount of times I've seen him like drop the cloth and pick up, I was like,
no way.
So then I was like, no, because I'm going to end up with a bill for somebody's paintwork. So, I think I did it as a kid. My mum used to drop me at the top of there's a hill and there's a house there, and they paid me to go around on the lawnmower. And I literally sat on a drive-on lawn mat for the whole time.
That's fun.
So
I remember working in a restaurant when I was, I want to say maybe 14, but it was like I could only do 3 hours a week. It was like, you could work there, but it was only for a certain amount of time. But I don't think you can do that now.
I did pot washing. I did pot washing as well.
You did what?
Pot washing.
Pot washing
in the kitchen.
KP.
Sweeping up the hair in the hairdressers, that was my one. Yeah. I used to love it as well. Just like, thanks.
Just having a wee job,
That's what I mean. Come in and sweep. I need one of those brooms.
That's it. Yeah, you need a Bristol Broomworks broom.
You'll never go back to
it. I'm gonna have a look at these brooms later.
It's really good. I don't know why. They're just really good. Yeah. Something about.
We definitely need one for the building dust.
I don't know. I feel that would ruin the broom.
Yeah.
But there's so much about this broom now. I just want one to put on the wall.
her whole point is that like, no, you need to use it. Like, it's a broom to be used.
I'm only making
like,
it if you're going to use
it's
it.
not to be used.
We use it in here just to
But
sweep
then
up gentle threads.
But I think all makers are like that, because
Yes, it's so
the
true.
amount I say to Martin all the time, you know, when I finished a bar stool and, you know, you brush it off and then I'm unboxing it, I'm like, I find it so weird that someone's just going to open it and sit on it like a piece of furniture straight away, when obviously like I've just finished it, and it's almost that sort of feeling of like, you know, it's
passing
perfectly
it over.
finished.
Yeah.
But obviously,
So perfect.
as soon as it's there, you know, then it's ready to go. But
there is what I notice, especially in makers, is a lot of the joy seems, and you can debunk this or tell me I'm right, that a lot of the joy seems to come in seeing people using your thing.
yeah,
Not just looking at it, but using it,
Yeah.
appreciating it by the use of it.
definitely.
Not just looking at it on the wall.
Yeah,
And I think that's something that over
not
the
just a
years that
pretty
we are
picture.
makers, that's definitely the makers I've been more and more and more attracted to. Like Stefan and Nenella and Sturdy, like makes bows, makes bamboo bows, like historically accurate bows, and I'm like,
wow,
it's a really usable thing.
Yeah.
Or like leather boots, like Wooten, or like yourself, like things that you can sit on and use.
Well, they
and,
become parts of people's lives, don't
Yeah,
they?
they do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that's what I love also when clients send pictures, because obviously with the stuff that people
Yeah.
buy online, I don't always see where it goes with the bar stools. But actually, I've had a string of photos this week from people, and it's just like, oh, look
That's
at it
the
in their
best thing
house.
ever.
Like, yeah, and you're like, they're going to have coffee on there with their friends.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
It is,
Kate always gets really
yeah.
jazzed this time of the year when obviously all the big subscription lot goes out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start seeing the photos coming back in and getting tagged on it.
Yeah.
And because you're seeing your stuff being used, you're seeing
Yeah.
your stuff being appreciated
Enjoyed.
by other people.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's a chunk of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a chunk of your life you've invested, not just in making that piece, but in all the time learning to make that piece prior to that.
Exactly, yeah.
And someone's appreciating it. And really, I think that's all any of us ever want. It's
Yeah,
just
definitely.
for our stuff to be appreciated.
Although I do find it hard sometimes when I do refurbs, and it's like such an amazing transformation, and it almost feels like really sad when it leaves the workshop.
Yeah, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
Well, you
do
fall in love with it.
do you want to
Yeah.
take? Are you sure you want to take it today? Because the workshop's going to feel different until I
Yeah.
get something else back in. Like,
can I just have it for a few more
Yeah.
days?
Yeah.
They could just sit there.
but then
and just-
seeing their face, obviously, when they open the door, I've always get people sort of like, hang on, let me just come in before I sort of have a
Oh.
look. And that's really nice, because it's like, you know, you've brought that joy to them
Yeah.
whilst also creating something
Yeah.
which you've enjoyed creating.
That's cool.
so much love.
Yeah.
Do you think
So
that
much love.
Do you think that'll get easier or more difficult over time? Because presumably you'll do higher and higher end pieces because you'll get a bigger and bigger name, and they'll become really, really special pieces to people. You know, family heirloom
Do you mean
chairs.
like more pressure?
Yeah, well, more pressure, but also the giving it away. Like, because you could be
Okay.
having some amazing stuff in here, and
Yeah.
you've only been going a year, really.
Yeah.
So
I
there's,
would think that because of the type of people we are, I don't think that feeling will ever go away.
Yeah,
Obviously,
okay.
I think, like you just said, mentioned the word pressure. There were obviously more pressured moments during this, you know, especially.
But you get that when you get someone's chosen fabric that's £180 a
Yeah,
square
that's
metre.
what I was just
Yeah.
about to say. So, you
You've
know,
got to
if I
template
get,
it, cut it.
you know, there's no room for error. There's a lot of pressure already, kind of thing. But I don't think that feeling of how I feel when I'm making something and giving it to the customer, and I don't think that will ever go away. I think, yeah.
Because they're all so different.
Yeah, and
They'll
also
bring different
I know
feelings.
that we'll always just be designing something new.
yeah,
So even if we're in that mode of, you know, like work is, you know, we're doing all of this stuff and it just needs to get done, there'll always be a little side project happening, you
Yeah,
know,
there
that
will.
we're designing, whether,
Always.
yeah. So, yeah.
that seems to be what you want to always have. Just constantly have some sort of creative project going.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
next piece of furniture.
We're
That's
just
it.
going to end up with a house full of
But
chairs.
my favourite,
that's fine.
I like problem solving. So my favourite one. I also don't like having too many sides. I know there's a lot of sides in here, but this is your
They're
issue, not
practical,
mine.
though. This is a workshop.
Because people leave stuff on sides. So I love the idea of a coffee table and having a coffee table to put my coffee mug on.
Yeah.
But I don't want it left there, and I don't want the magazine put there, and I don't want that put there. So
Except the We Are Makers magazine,
the-
obviously.
the metal one that's downstairs.
210 millimeters by
Yeah,
270. That's all you need.
Perfect.
That can go in the magazine rack next to it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
exactly.
But I've made a coffee table that's flippable, so it becomes a bench and a footstool. So we have it 90% of the time as a footstool. You saw it in the lounge
Yeah,
earlier,
okay.
and you can still fit 2 coasters on it. But if I had people round, I could then flip it and
Put
turn it
your
into a full coffee
snacks and
table.
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
but nobody leaves anything on it.
Yeah.
Which is perfect.
I think
for
he's
me.
proud of that one.
I love it.
You're like,
Love
no
it.
stuff is just
No stuff
lying
is there.
But then
It's like angled
You like
surfaces,
that.
isn't it?
You don't like stuff.
yeah.
Like
I wouldn't even have windowsills if I didn't have to.
Well, you see a lot
Angles
of
everywhere.
old Victorian
Window and
schools and old
wall.
Don't like
Victorian
knickknacks
hospitals
then.
and stuff. All the windowsills are like that,
He likes
and that's why they're like that to
knickknacks.
stop people putting stuff on it so they can keep it clean.
Yeah.
You see it quite a lot in old buildings.
You like chosen
Yeah.
knick-knacks, don't you?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
for
it.
a
Chosen,
reason.
Yeah, he
carefully
likes
thought
to-
about.
yeah.
So every wedding anniversary, instead of buying stuff for each other, we go out and we'll buy a piece of artwork or something that we both love.
Or a massive willow
Otherwise,
giraffe.
or a massive
Or
willow
one of
giraffe,
those, yeah.
I love having really interesting stories to tell round the dinner table. That's why everything's so carefully picked.
So like,
Yeah, so someone's like,
So
where's
like
that
broom,
from?
like we had a really good day with her, so
Yeah.
we bought the broom because it'll be hanging on the picture rail. Someone will ask about it because it's interesting, and we'll be able to say, "This is
Yeah.
this thing we've
get to
devoted
relive
our
that.
life to do."
Yeah.
And 5.5, 6 years in, we found this woman who's from America who's come over here because she met a Welsh guy. She's living in Bristol and she started a broom making business, and we bought this in her first year. Look where she is now.
Yeah.
Like that to me is a really
That's
cool
awesome.
story.
And
It's
like,
really cool.
out of all our friends and family, we have the most interesting cup cupboard because every cup is different. Because we've collected it
Just
from everywhere.
collected
it.
And like,
Yeah.
oh, where did you get this? And it's just a good conversation.
But that's what
starter,
life's
isn't
about,
it?
isn't it? As well, you know, like looking back on the journey and those memories and stuff.
That's why you need to make them.
Yeah,
and just
but then
do it.
sometimes we design things by accident. So like the magazine rack that he told you about, originally we'd sort of copied that off our little Lucy footstool and thought, you know, we want to extend that. We wanted a table for Craftwork so we could put our brochures and stuff on. And then when we brought it home, he sort of, without even thinking, took the magazine and put it in it and was like, oh my
Because it's a wiggle like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
that was just meant.
And
Yeah.
they just line up. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
And it just worked so perfect.
Love
I
those
was like, well
moments.
done,
Happy
you.
accident.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, that's
I don't
great.
think you'll ever stop designing things.
Doesn't sound like it.
That's the interesting bit, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you get to do it together is cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Most people spend all their life working apart,
Yeah.
their married lives, working
Yeah.
completely apart,
Yeah,
waiting until
yeah.
they're 60, 65. Or if you're our age, they'll be waiting until they're 70, 75 to retire
Yeah.
to spend 2 holidays a year
Yeah,
overseas.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my mum and dad are getting really good at it now. They're spending a lot of their time together on holidays because my dad worked away a lot and more recently he's worked from home, which is great. But yeah, they're spending all their time on holidays.
Yeah, that's
And I do
nice.
wonder if a lot of it's catch up, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But it's really,
No,
really
that's
cool.
just- yeah.
But we
Well, and
often
also
talk about,
'cause a
I
lot
don't
of-
want catch up.
Yeah.
Just want to do.
What are we going to do when we get to that age? Then we're going to
We'll
go
be bored
separate
of each
ways.
other.
No, not at all.
No, but I think that is the problem as well because working has got so, you know, like people email you at any time or Facebook message, you know, they're not like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, everyone's having family time, you know. And I think that is the problem, isn't it? And that's why I feel so lucky that we do get to work together and do what we're
Because you
doing.
both appreciate, like, understand why
Yeah,
you have to reply
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
time.
Exactly,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And you have to work harder to get those little moments of, okay, well, let's just stop thinking
Switch off.
with our design thing and go and do something fun.
Yeah, we've got a little Shopify app on our website that allows, it's Shopify Inbox, I think it is. It's a really good app if anyone wants to ask questions because it goes straight to your phone without going like through emails and stuff.
Oh, cool.
So if someone just wants to ask a quick question, and I just typed out like, look, this is going to my personal phone.
Yeah.
If I have time to answer, I will, but this is not an instant chat service. We're not a big company, and
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
never
yeah.
had a single bad interaction over it.
Yeah,
And I
that's
thought,
so good.
because when we put it on, I was really concerned about it. But because we'd launched subscriptions, people will always ask questions about subscriptions.
Yeah,
how long
yeah.
does it tie them in, X, Y, Z? Like, there's always questions around that. And I think people are becoming more and more aware of, like, these are real people
Yeah.
doing a real job
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
just like you, sitting and watching the TV
Yeah, yeah.
in front of their phone. You're just buying from them. They're making the thing for you
Yeah.
to buy.
Yeah.
But
You
I
know?
do feel like it's starting to go back that way, isn't it? Like
I hope
the
so.
connection to stuff
I so hope
feels like it's getting stronger, which is why I think it's so good what you guys are doing.
Thanks very
You
much.
know, showing the makers and their stories behind, because we are just trying to support our family whilst doing something that we love, and it's the same for a lot of makers, isn't it? They're just wanting to make cool stuff.
And just
Make cool stuff, sell
Make cool
it.
stuff and sell
Have
it.
a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really all it is.
Job done.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
hello, I exist.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It seems to be more difficult to do that than ever at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's,
How are you guys tackling that one, being seen by your customers?
Getting feedback is a really good one, I think. finding out where people have heard about you from. And just, I feel like with socials it's hard because it's always changing, isn't it? There's always a new thing. And unless like you do that for a job, you kind of are waiting for somebody to tell you or for you to realise.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think with me, it's just like doing regular posts, checking in with my followers and being like, are you enjoying what we're sharing? Do you want to see more of this? Do you want to see more of that? That kind of stuff. Yeah. Definitely need to put newsletter on my list.
Newsletter.
I know.
Love a newsletter.
I have done one, and I've actually done 4 blog
you have
posts.
done one. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. And also just getting out there. I think doing Craftworks last year, because that was our first sort of, other than John Lewis, which was a pop-up shop that we did while we were filming, but that was the first
show.
Us there with our furniture. This is what we make. Everything you make is by us. And doing stuff like that obviously helps.
It's just chatting to new people, meeting new people.
When it also like...
I don't think there's any substitute for meeting people face to face.
No,
and it
I completely
fires you
agree. I
up,
prefer
doesn't
it.
it?
Yeah.
It fires you up because you're like, people are coming in and liking what we make. Like, that feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, absolutely.
You're getting like instant feedback.
Yeah.
What was it Sam and Rich said in the documentary? Gratification. We all just do it for the gratification. Yeah, probably.
And because we like making cool shit.
Yeah,
That's
we like making cool shit and we like gratification.
And this
That's
looks
why we're
good,
here.
so...
Yeah, exactly.
Of course you
I
will.
think the shows is always hit or miss for people, isn't it? But I think if you're going at it with the thought of the cost of the show is, it's hard, isn't it? Because we're always torn with shows, because personally I think a lot of them don't do a good enough job of charging makers to get there, and they don't do a good enough job of telling people that the show is there.
Yeah.
Like their whole business model is charge the makers to be there, not get people through the door.
And it's a lot. I don't think people realise how much some of these shows can be.
Loads of money.
I do. I did it with my
yeah, of
furniture.
course.
It's loads
And
of
I
money.
just thought, no one's here to buy this amount of money. They're not coming to spend that amount of
Just
money.
coming to have a look around and have
They're
a day
buying
out.
all the cheap stuff or just coming for the food and then leaving.
Yeah.
And you're like,
if you want to make money at a show, be a food vendor.
Yeah.
Be a coffee shop.
Yeah.
But if you pick the right show that you know the right people are there and you do the marketing side to get people there in front of your work, it's a good chance for you to be in one place, for people to come by. And I do think it is the more you spend, the more you get out of it with the shows. Because all these sort of half-size shows,
it's not
the
really
sort
worth
of
it.
church fete shows, people don't seem to
I
come
know
to
what you
them.
mean. Yeah.
When I think also sometimes it's about like that confidence thing I was saying earlier. It's just like taking a punt, because what's the worst that could happen? So, for example, with Craftworks, I'd obviously followed quite a few people on socials for a while that I either like their stuff or, just whatever. And there was a lot of, I messaged you guys, didn't I? Say, come along.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it's like you said, just taking it on yourself to be like, what's the worst that can happen if I message a load of people or put out some more posts saying, come and see us. So I think sometimes it's just about just doing it and
putting yourself out.
and I feel like a lot of the good stuff that's happened with my business has come from a really scary place where something's come up and I've been like, should I do that? That's really scary, but I've done it and then it's paid off. So I think sometimes there's something in that, trusting your gut. And sometimes it doesn't pay off, but if it doesn't, you just try something else.
You just look at it and say, what did I learn from that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or that's the way you could look at it, that it did pay off because you've learned from it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I
or
mean,
like,
you get as you said, you get feedback from it. People get the chance to come and see our furniture in real life rather than just images online, which I think is invaluable. See what goes into it.
You're talking to two
else.
people that try and sell a coffee table book magazine online. Like it's just like not the kind of thing that you can't appreciate quality online.
No,
you need to see things in.
Yeah.
And
really
photos
difficult.
never look the same either, do they? You know.
Nope, they don't. You want people to see it and touch it.
Yeah.
Well,
Whenever
that's
they
what
it's
I
like-
enjoy about the show. Anyway, Craftworks, getting to chat to loads of new people.
Yeah.
Talk about projects that they're interested in as well. I got chatting to a few people about potential projects down the line.
Yeah, collaborating projects, all that
we
stuff.
got
All
a
that's
big
great.
I've always
collaboration.
wanted this chair, but built like this or whatever. Can you do it? Yes, of course I can.
Whips his sketchbook
love
out.
to
Work it out later.
I'm already thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite a few people actually came because they'd followed us and wanted to buy the bar stool, but obviously we haven't got a show. We didn't have a showroom, so they actually came specifically. And there was one lady who kind of almost walked in and was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll go and order."
It's exactly as I expected. Yeah.
They just needed just to see it, and that's all they had to see.
Yeah.
That's
Do you
good.
think there is a world where you try and get a showroom at a later stage.
Oh, that would be cool.
We do occasionally talk about it.
We did have a look at a couple of spaces, and whenever we were looking for a bigger space, we always were saying we'd like to have some sort of, window, whether it's like I'm to work in so people can watch you working, because people love that.
Workshop.
Oh, yeah. Or whether it's
that's
to
what
display
it has to be,
stuff.
because people have to be able to make the connection between this is actually hanging.
Exactly, yeah. So
what's she doing in the back?
Yeah, rather than, like just a garage sort of workshop where you wouldn't necessarily have clients in. So if we were to get anywhere, we'd want it like that. But then also I've collaborated with a really lovely local interior designer recently, and she's got a little showroom and a kitchen place next to her who's also offered to put some bar stools in.
Great.
So I think for now it might just be about reaching out a bit further. Do you know any showrooms in Scotland?
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's quite a few kitchen ones still. Do you know what? Kitchens have never really given up their high street presence.
No, they haven't.
Kitchen manufacturers, have they?
Everyone
else has given away their high street presence. Kitchens have not. And it's for that. People want to go in and feel
and
drawers.
have a look,
That's part of the worry about getting a showroom or something like that is the high streets do seem to be disappearing. I mean, it's coffee shops and barbers and charity shops at the moment, isn't it? Especially
charity shops
where
sell
we
good
are.
furniture for refurbing those.
They do, yeah.
Unless you're in America.
Yeah. Oh, really?
If you can go into any shop and buy anything.
Any shop.
Just shops are everywhere, like proper shops.
I was wanting to get a camera charger today and I couldn't get one in the shop.
Yeah.
It was all, you need to order online. I'm like, come on.
There's a Best Buy every 3 miles or something in America. If you couldn't get one for one shop, they'd have probably phoned the next one and been like, there's one there.
Well, and I think the other problem as well is there's such a big catalogue online, so you'll sort of look at stuff online, even if you have the local shop nearby. So you might look at it and be like, oh, well, I'll pop in to see it in person. Oh no, that's only online.
You find it with like Wix or B&Q or whatever. If I need to order something off there, for when I built the stairs, I needed to order some extra long lengths of timber.
Yeah.
And they're like, we've got 20 or 30 in stock. And then you turn up and they're like, oh yeah, in stock online. Okay, thanks.
Great.
I'll just wait another week.
Well, the woman said that. I mean, she was trying to be helpful, but at the shop today at Curry's, she was like, it's the only electronics store. There's a Curry's or a Wex photo video, and there's none near them near here. And she's like, oh yeah, we've got it online. I was like, yeah, but if I was ordering it online, I'd order it from Canon, or I'd order it from Wex, or I'd order it from somewhere that's probably cheaper and I can get a better option. Like, I'm in a shop now to buy it.
Because you want it now.
No, that's the whole point.
Now.
Is that not the whole point in a shop?
I know.
That's why you go shopping.
I
right?
don't know.
Anyway.
It's wild. It's all broken.
That's very
But I
Bring
think,
back shops.
yes.
well, I was just going to say, I think if we did end up doing something like that, though, I would definitely like to have a space to put other makers' stuff in as well.
Of course, yeah.
Because we recently looked around a few sort of like quirky little, I would say, gift shops, like those shops that just sell a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about trying to get some cushions into physical shops because they sell better when people feel them and see them.
Yep.
But every shop we went in, it was like they all sold the same wholesale stuff, even though it was lovely and cute. And I was like, I kind of thought there'd be some like home, like local made stuff.
But it's made to look as if it is.
Yeah.
And it's the
All of
most
it.
annoying thing. People think that is handmade stuff, and they look at the price and be like,
I know.
Well, what's the UK legislation for the handmade ticket? I think it's like 14%.
Is it?
If 14% of the work has been done by hand, it's
That's
technically
crazy.
handmade. That's bonkers.
That's-
Put hand finished on it if you want, but that's not handmade. I'm sure someone told me about that the other day, and I did fact check it, and it seems to check out.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So how do you tell someone it's handmade without, like you say, having a shop that you're actually making it in the back?
It's
And be like,
actually
that's where it's been made.
Yeah,
It's actually right there.
Because I did a show and I had a sign saying handmade by Kate, right? And somebody came up to me and said, oh, so where do you import your stuff from? And I was like, how more obvious could I make this? But they're so used to everything else around me being, imported, so they couldn't quite put the, oh, you actually make that?
Yeah.
Like, and then they started to be like, but you spend half the time explaining it, and then they just disappear.
Especially if you're doing furniture or something like that. I mean, maybe ceramics or something is a bit more obvious that it's handmade.
Yeah.
But when you're building furniture and bits, then people can just assume. It's a bit like our frames. They're not hollow. They're solid steel. So they are robust. They will last a lifetime.
Yeah.
But how do you get that across on an Instagram video? Do you know what I mean?
Without just going at it with a hacksaw.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
Just
also
doesn't work, does
there's
it?
always part of you that's like, you don't want to like post the same thing again and again and again, but equally we know that actually that works because not everyone will have seen the first time that we said, oh, actually the metal is handmade, you know, in the forge. You know, you assume that all of your followers know that and everyone knows that, but
you should
they
do
don't.
a little day, you know, you should
day in the life.
you should like say this is where it's made, and then you should put all the pieces together, but really quick.
Well, next time you guys come, you have to come to the forge because it's cool.
Sure.
Yeah,
for sure, that'd be great. Kate?
Yeah, so what advice would you give your younger selves? That's always my final question.
You go first.
No, I can't. I don't know. I'd do it exactly as you've done it.
Would you?
Yeah, I think I'm very happy with the way I've done it.
That's cool.
I don't think I've got any regrets at all.
That's a brilliant place to be.
I kind of feel the same because everything that I've done has led me to here. I would say be kind to yourself because there's definitely been some times where I felt quite lost. But yeah, you've just got to keep trying.
Find yourself again.
You've just got to keep trying and, you know, get supportive people around you and just keep doing things that make you happy, like making cool stuff.
Do things that make you happy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's it.
I sound like that live, laugh, love sign.
Yeah. But it's a good one though.
Right.
I was just checking that didn't say.
Today's a good day to smile. I like that one though.
That's just to remind me when I'm swearing at, you know, whatever staple I've got in my thumb or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, just keep smiling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, guys. Let's wrap it up with that.
You forgot. Where do people find you? Instagram.
Oh, God, sorry.
Website. So website is foxandfurb.co.uk. Instagram @foxandfurb.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Email address is the same, foxandfurb@gmail.com.
Nice.
Yeah, simple.
Kate, what do we do? Because we never do an ad read for ourselves.
I did it last time. So
No, you do it.
No, you did it. I did it last time. You did it this time.
And if you want to find out about more amazing makers like Hayley and Martin, check out wearemakers.info or wearemakers.shop for the physical magazine, which Kate has been putting together for 5.5 years.
Woohoo.
We now release quarterly, feature about 14 makers every quarter, and tell their stories to the world.
Amazing.
That was a good ad read, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was very good.
You did that one.
Practice that, haven't you?
No, I've not actually.
We'll give you a call.